Yeshivah of Flatbush. The Yeshivah of Flatbush is a modern Orthodox, private Jewish day school located in the Midwood section of Brooklyn, New York. It educates students from age 2 to age 18 and includes an early childhood center, an elementary school, and a secondary school. History and mission. The Yeshivah of Flatbush was founded in 1927 by Joel Braverman, among others. At first, the school consisted of an elementary school, middle school, and an 8-to-new preschool located on East 10th Street in Flatbush. The high school was founded in 1950 to complement the elementary school. The high school was originally in a building adjoining the elementary school. After 1962, a new high school building was built on Avenue J, and the elementary school expanded into what was formerly the high school building. The institution combines a Torah education and a secular education for both boys and girls. The school's philosophy is a synthesis of Judaic studies, Bible, Talmud, Jewish thought, and the liberal arts. The school has two mottos: the Standard of Excellence and Iman Kemach Ein Torah, which roughly translates to, without food literally, flour there is no Torah. Teaching philosophy. One of the Yeshivah of Flatbush's fundamental tenets is its Ivrit Be'ivrit, literally, Hebrew in Hebrew philosophy of teaching Judaics. This means that every such class is conducted completely in Hebrew, regardless of the level or ability of students. With this technique, the Yeshivah aims to enable its students to achieve fluency in the Hebrew language. Student demographics. The Yeshivah of Flatbush comprises Jewish students and teachers from a variety of backgrounds. In the past, more than half of the students were Ashkenazi Jews whose families originated from communities in Germany, Poland, Eastern Europe, and Russia. In recent years, the majority has shifted to students of Sephardic descent, mainly those whose families originated in Middle Eastern countries. The overwhelming number of Sephardic students can be attributed to the growth of the Syrian community in Flatbush, and the decline in Ashkenazi enrollment can be attributed to the movement of modern Orthodox communities to Long Island and New Jersey, with a concomitant increase in the number and quality of Jewish day schools and yeshivot in those areas. Some Yemenite, Native American, Estonian, Cuban, Honduran, and Ethiopian Jews have also been enrolled. Post-high school. Many graduates participate in year-long programs at yeshivot, seminaries, and volunteer organizations in Israel for a year. Afterwards, some continue their studies in similar institutions, enroll in university, or enlist in the Israel Defense Forces for another year or more. However, most come back to the United States for university. Graduates of the Yeshivah of Flatbush have studied at universities and colleges across the country, from Tulane to the University of Maryland and Boston University to Yale. Some of the most popular universities among Flatbush's alumni, including Yeshiva University and the City University of New York, grant as much as a year's worth of credit to students who study in Israel for a year, allowing them to apply these credits to their undergraduate degree. A large number of students graduate with college credit due to the many advanced placement program AP courses offered in the junior, senior, and more recently sophomore years of high school. Leadership. Raymond Harari is the Rosh Yeshiva, or head of school, of the high school. Harari, an alumnus of Yeshiva of Flatbush High School, received his BA in philosophy and an MA in Jewish studies from Yeshiva University, his rabbinic ordination from Rabbi Isaac Elchanan Theological Seminary, and his PhD in Jewish history from New York University. In addition to his leadership roles at the school, he continues to teach a course in Talmud to high school students in the 9th and 10th grades. Between 1980 and 1998, Harari led the B'nai Shar Zion Minyanet congregation Shar Zion. Currently, he leads the Mikdash Eliyahu congregation in Brooklyn. Joseph Beda is its principal, and Sari Bacon and Esther Hidary are the associate principals. Alumnus David Galpert, class of 2009, has emerged as an influential member of the Yeshivah of Flatbush leadership and is considered by many as a modern-day Joel Braverman. The elementary school was formerly led by Lawrence Schwed, who retired in 2016. Since 2017, the head of elementary school has been Yahel Tzedi grades 1-8. Tzedi studied at Yeshivat Har Etzion, Yeshivat HaKotel, Yeshiva University and American Jewish University's Graduate Center for Education, where he received his master's in the arts of teaching. He is pursuing his doctorate in education at the Azrieli Graduate School of Jewish Education and Administration. Grades 6-8 are led by David Hertzberg. Debbie Levine Greenbaum is the director of early childhood, presiding over Atidenu Literally, Our Future, nursery and kindergarten classes. David Ilyach is principal emeritus, following a decades-long tenure as principal of the high school. Since 2017, the school has been led by Executive Director Jeffrey Rothman. Student government. Each spring, the student body of the Yeshivah of Flatbush High School elects 4 juniors to positions in the Student Government Organization SGO. These students assume their respective positions the following fall. The SGO plans various trips and other activities for students throughout the year. The SGO also organizes and plans Color War, which occurred recently for the first time, 2 years in a row. The Senior Council is similarly chosen every year. Juniors elect 4 of their peers to lead them into, and during their last year in the high school. The council's responsibilities include collecting senior dues and planning the wintertime senior ski trip, the springtime senior trip, and the year-ending senior dinner. Community interaction. Each year, the Yeshivah holds events that cater to the New York Jewish community. The largest ones include the annual Yom HaShoah Holocaust Remembrance Day and Yom Ha'atzmaut Israel Independence Day programs, which traditionally feature performances by the high school's choir and chamber choir, now under the direction of Brian Gelfand. Each month, there is the Sunday morning learning program where students, faculty, and alumni get together for prayers, breakfast, and a faculty-prepared presentation of given texts. Music and the arts. Since the early 1990s, the Yeshivah has gained acclaim through its high school and chamber choirs. Under the direction of Daniel Henkin, until the year 2007, the choral program at the Yeshivah has been featured at venues ranging from New York City Hall, Brooklyn City Hall, the Jewish Heritage Museum, and others. Their repertoire spans across genres, which include arrangements of both secular and religious pieces. In 2008, Daniel Henkin resigned as choir director and assumed a position at the Ramez Upper School in Manhattan. Henkin was replaced by Brian Gelfand, who directs the choir to date. Sports. The Flatbush Falcons compete in a number of sports. The hockey, basketball, and volleyball and bowling teams compete in the fall, while the softball, pickleball, soccer, and boys varsity volleyball squads play in the spring. The swim, badminton, and tennis teams compete year-round. In most cases, teams are members of the Metropolitan Yeshivah High School Athletic League, which represents many of the Jewish day schools in the New York area. The Flatbush varsity tennis team won their first championship ever in June 2017, beating Hestel 3-2. Players like Meir Towel, Joe Benhaim, and Meir Kassan led the team to victory. 2 basketball tournaments are held every year. The Thomas Hausdorff Memorial Basketball Tournament in November brings the male junior varsity teams of 3 American Jewish high schools to Brooklyn for a weekend of competition and solidarity. At the Mark Sakin Memorial Basketball Tournament in December, the varsity team competes against other New York area Jewish high schools. Hausdorff was a former principal of the school. Sakin was a student killed just days before his scheduled graduation in 1973. Academic teams. The Yeshivah of Flatbush's academic teams compete in a wide range of areas. Some of the teams include Debate Mock Trial, Model Congress, the Yeshivah University National Model United Nations Envirothin, Chess, Mathematics, College Bowl and Torah Bowl. Publications: the Phoenix Student Newspaper. Imre Shefer Edivar Torah Weekly Hebrew, first initiated in 1974 by Mark Lichtenthal, seal a member of the class of 1975. Haaretz V'Ham, an Israel Affairs newspaper. Summit Senior Yearbook. Pegasus, a liberal arts pamphlet. Notable alumni: Howard Apfel, rabbi and noted expert on medical halachah and ethics in Ramat Bet Shemesh Aleph. Robert J. Avrich, Emmy Award-winning screenwriter. David Berger, academic, expert in medieval Jewish history. David Bernstein, 1967, professor, George Mason University School of Law and author. Lee Bienstock, 1983, finalist on The Apprentice 5. Baruch Samuel Blumberg, 1925–2011, recipient of the 1976 Nobel Prize in Physiology or Medicine, identified the hepatitis B virus. Chaim Brovender, Rosh Yeshivah of Yeshivat HaMivtert, Tivat HaMivtert. Abraham Foxman, 1940, former director, 1987–2015 of the Anti-Defamation League. Gideon Gartner, 1936, founder of the Gartner Group. Baruch Goldstein, perpetrator of the Cave of the Patriarchs massacre. Judith Hoffman, 1943, feminist Talmudic scholar and professor at the Jewish Theological Seminary of America. Neil Hendel, Israeli Supreme Court Justice. Yehuda Henkin, 1945, noted Israeli posek. Meir Kahane, 1932–1990, elementary school graduate, founder of the Jewish Defense League and former Israeli Knesset member. Head of the Catch Party. Eric Kandel, 1929, 2000 Nobel Prize laureate in physiology or medicine. Elihu Katz, 1926, American sociologist and founder of Israeli television. Ezra Labadin, 1950–2013, Modern Orthodox rabbi, philosopher, educator, and founding rabbi of Congregation Magen David of West Deal. Naomi Levy, member of the first class of women to enter the Jewish Theological Seminary of America, best-selling author and founder of Yeshivah, the Jewish spiritual outreach movement. Isaac Mizrahi, 1961, fashion designer, Bertram L. Hodel, 1925–2005, former member of the United States House of Representatives from New York. Dennis Prager, 1948, public speaker and radio talk show host. Kenneth Prager, physician. Samuel Schaffler, 1929–1991, rabbi, historian, editor and Jewish educator. Charlie Shrem, American entrepreneur, Bitcoin advocate, and convicted felon. Daniel Sperber, professor of Talmud at Bar Ilan University and winner of the Israel Prize in 1992. Joseph Teleshkin, 1948, author and speaker on Jewish topics. Alana Merels S.C. Tachman, author, researcher, feminist activist, Bruce Wasserstein, 1947–2009, investment banker, businessman, and writer. Wendy Wasserstein, 1950–2006, playwright. Larry Weinberg, former president of APEC and former owner of the Portland Trail Blazers. Leon Wieseltier, 1952, writer, editor of the New Republic. Joel B. Walowelski, author and current dean of the faculty at the Yeshivah of Flatbush High School. Alan Zelenetz, former principal, co-founder of OV Entertainment, and comic book writer for Marvel Comics. Ephraim Zuroff, 1948, director of the Simon Wiesenthal Center, Israel.